What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action, spawning in the blue color, playing as Thor. His name is Matreiuss. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Freyr. His name is Suppe. As we've got ourselves a little bit of a Norse mirror, or a Norse war, not a mirror, it's a Norse war on Oasis. And both of these civs play very, very differently. And I want to just start off by going, what is Matreiuss doing in this game? He has not thrown down an armory. He has gone for double berserk to kick this one off. And he is in the land of experimentation here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we want. This is what we dream of. A little bit of the old experimentation with Norse, with Thor here. Very exciting. On the other side of the map here, we are seeing our main man, Suppe. Now just going to be cooking up that pickaxe. But guess what else Matreiuss has already got? No, he doesn't. He doesn't already have it. I thought he did. I thought I saw maybe a pickaxe coming through, but maybe he cancelled it. Nonetheless, we'll see what Suppe's going to be able to concoct here with this Freyr. We know how good he is with Freyr, but I'm actually quite interested in what Matreiuss is going to go for. Now, the idea of throwing an armory down and just getting your armory upgrades out in the classical age is something that's not so crazy. I definitely had some ideas with myself of like maybe advancing faster and dropping a second town center. And if that's the way that this matchup would normally go, then definitely there's a lot of merit to doing that. And one thing that I've discovered here with Norse is, if we're not going to see it here from Matreiuss, but just crazy ideas, if you go for the classical age with only dwarves, you can just go for a ton of more. You can just skip all food income basically and just be all on gold and wood and be able to drop this town center very, very easily. Especially if you herd in animals underneath the town center, you can get a handful of villagers on food to get out Herser, the rest on gold, and a handful on wood, and you can get that upgrade. But we see the temple coming up very, very forward here for Matreiuss. He's going to be attempting to secure this forward food over here. Really, really interesting opening from Matreiuss. Suppe, on the other hand, going to be dropping his temple in his main base. Very, very stock standard, very, very careful. He can put a wall over here to block off the bottom side of the map. He can also wall over from here to block off and make his gold mine nice and safe. On the left side of the map, he's also got a really, really nice ability to put up a building or two here and then finish that wall off here as well to make his base really nice and secure. So any sort of crazy rush here, which Matreiuss wants to execute, might not be the most effective, but he goes for a 409, it looks like. So that's a standard 4 minute with a second berserk coming out of your town center. It takes 9 seconds to build that one. As the Herser are now going to start pumping out, and in classic Suppe fashion, he goes, I'm going to advance when I'm damn well ready to. And he says 4:35 is the time, as Matreiuss will be in his main base with a Valkyrie, and you've got to be careful against this. If the Valkyrie runs in and catches these villagers here, Suppe very well might just lose himself a villager on this position. As we see a house coming down over here, Herser moving into the center of the map. From what we've actually seen here from Matreiuss, this is where we'll know he's going to send that Valkyrie through. He's not going. He's got to go straight to this food is what I think, especially with the forward temple. Taking a little bit of time here to move forward. Suppe here not yet reacting, but Matreiuss is not going in a straight line to this one. The Dow is right here, so he has to kind of... I've got Omniscience, so I know that there's probably a villager kill here if Suppe doesn't react immediately, whereas attacking this wood line, even if there's a slightly delayed reaction here, which, I mean, that's not that delayed from Suppe in the slightest, you know, he's still going to be able to jump into that tower, and it's going to be completely fine. As now Suppe is moving out onto this hunt right into the face of Matreiuss there. In the middle of the map, we see the Longhouse, we see the Great Hall. It's going to be raiding cavalry, throwing axemen, moving into the center of the position here is the Great Hall coming up for Suppe, as well as a Longhouse to boot, as the Valkyries are just going to be chasing each other around here. And has Suppe recognized as a temple here? He has. But Matreiuss has not. Matreiuss has got no idea the villagers are on that position. As the unit's going to charge through, we got that Berserk getting pushed back over here. The Great Hall's going to get taken down as well. That's a big amount of damage done for the early game here. As Soup on the backside now, he's getting up the Great Hall over the other side. He's going to be losing a house as well, as we see the Valkyrie starting to move off. If we take a quick look at Soup's perspective, he does know that there's Hunt over here. So he can make a nice attack with that Valkyrie and cause some problems here, especially with Matreiuss being very, very far forward. In the main base, we've got that Dwarven Armory in. Not just yet. As the Valkyrie going to be retreating back. He may or may not have spotted the Valkyrie, but his spidey senses are tingling. Where is the Valkyrie going to be going? Looks like he's going to be heading for the main base here, as Matreiuss' forces now converging into the center of the map here. Going to be taking out that house. The watchtower over here has to be focus firing down units that have got somewhat low pierce armor. And we are seeing some great micro here from Matreiuss to dodge those arrows pulling back. House coming up here as well for Soup on this position as well. House going to be coming up. And now we see the Valkyries do converge on this position, but Soups will get sent packing here, pulling all the way back home. Longhouse now on the way for Matreiuss, as well as the raiding cavalry are going to be sneaking through here. This raiding cavalry over here going to get a couple of shots off. As where to next for Matreiuss is the big question. Soup is very easily going to be taking this fight. Actually, maybe not. Looks like the 3 raiding cavalry a little bit too much here. Matreiuss has got that early game kind of multitasking on lock, and now he's going to have to retreat away as that Herdman joins in, but the unit's still charging forward. Managed to snipe a Hearser there as well before retreating away. As the raiding cavalry now going to be pulling back up onto this spot. They do see the villagers on that hunt, and that might make Matreiuss a little bit like, what are you doing over there? Let me send all my units. Population-wise, he is in front by a significant amount at this moment, but we've got medium infantry, medium cavalry coming through in the main base here. Soup is throwing building after building after building down here. So his production is going to go through the roof. There are a lot of units that can be produced right now. He's throwing out a whole bunch. He's building a whole bunch of throwing axemen here as the army now decides to converge on this position. Soup in a little bit of a difficult spot. You're going to have to use those gatherers to join in as Matreiuss pulls back for the moment. Forest Fire going to be getting dropped down, but the units are nowhere close to that one. Throwing axemen getting good amounts of focus fire damage done onto each other. The Herdmen do need to ensure they're targeting down raiding cavalry here, but it looks like for the most part that's going to be somewhat happening. As it looks now, with the Valkyrie going down, there is still a Hearser remaining. It will be able to get that. No, it won't even get a shot off over there, but it is going to be advantage here ever so slightly for Matreiuss at the end of this fight, as he's now going to attempt to continue taking on Soup for the moment. He's got to get more buildings down for the moment here. He's got himself 1 Great Hall, 2 Longhouses here as well, as the raiding cavalry do get onto the back line. As Matreiuss tries to take out those thrown axemen. Very low HP rating cavalry here is getting max value now, charging forward with the medium upgrades. And the units here are all going to pull back and just sit in this center location, hanging out. There's that Great Hall going to be going on to that position as the Valkyrie going to run in. Will spot a villager here, gets 1 poke and then decides to retreat away. There's so many different angles for weakness here. The wood line over here, the gold mine over here, the food over here. Soup is defending really, really nicely against all of that for the time being here. As now Matreiuss getting up more military buildings to spend all of his resources. I do think it would be interesting, right? If you play here's a little question for the viewers out there. How often do you guys play with auto queue? As a top player, I think that every one of these guys should play some custom games with auto queue on. The reason for it is that you can see exactly what perfect macro is, exactly when you should be putting down extra military buildings, and then you can actually work towards getting those mechanics to that level. Because you can go, all right, I didn't hit it this game. Let me try again next game. And then you can continue to get better and better and better. I think we should probably try that out at some point. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, in the chat for Twitch. I want to know what you guys think about training with auto queue, as now Matreiuss, he's going to be abandoning this position a little bit. Going to lose a lot of houses here, but there is a chance that these villagers on these berries here might get spotted. But it looks like Matreiuss, He knows the berries are there, but he's not going to go for it. Villagers retreating into that tower over here. A little bit of disrespect from Suppe as Matreiuss has not checked those berries out in the slightest. We'll be able to take down this tower while this is all going on, but I think the house is getting taken down on this position. I see the army going to be pulling him back ever so slightly. House is coming up onto this spot at the back. And the raiding cavalry will be able to take out a temple here from Suppe. But the trading here is definitely in favor of Suppe here. All these houses, it's so much wood. And Suppe is just... Sorry, Matreiuss is just putting these on the front for them to get taken down again. I will never understand this. Just retreat back into your main base, put everyone onto wood, or not everyone, put a lot of villagers onto wood, rebuild your buildings, get your houses back up in a safe spot. You made the mistake once. Let's try not to make it a second time. Longhouse now coming down. Raiding cavalry swinging onto the back position here. Those throwing axemen are very, very out of position. Nice micro back here from Matreiuss as he realizes Suppe's regrouping was too strong there as he's going to pull over here. You have to also remember there's going to be a forest fire available for Suppe on this fight potentially, as well as Suppe utilizing that. The houses of Matreiuss incredibly well here. Forest fire, both players doing the same thing is kind of funny. Not even close to that line there as the throwing axemen going to be doing absolute work for Matreiuss on the back line. A couple more units are now starting to move in for Suppe as is going into a huge amount of infantry units. The population differential here is still very, very close, but no front line remaining for Suppe means it's time to retreat back. There's a couple of long houses. There's that dwarven armory coming up onto the front as now Suppe says Matreiuss says it's time to go to the next age. You go through Skadi, you go through Bragi here. It looks like Bragi is the option. Now, it's important to remember that Freyr also has got access to Bragi. There's not really any significant advantage of Bragi in this matchup, just on the fact that both players have got that flaming weapons. Both players have got all of the really strong berserks, especially when both go through Freyr here. As the Valkyrie going to be retreating back. Disbalot is coming through, or Dizablot coming through as well to try and defend himself and get those Valkyrie a little bit more power. Favor-wise, I'm not sure where all of Suppe's favor is. How many Valkyries? He's only got the one. He's got another Valkyrie coming out. I'm not sure where the rest of Suppe's Valkyries are. As the units in the center of the map going to be taking a lot of damage in this position here as well. Dwarven army are going to be getting taken down over here as the army of Matreiuss needs to get back up here and defend. Suppe getting a little bit over committed there on the front with those Herb and going to have to pull back. He's got no access to Herser at the moment. Will be a very important thing for him to do, but he also has in the back of his mind that, well, Matreiuss is going to be hitting the next age very, very shortly, and he's going to have to get some sort of defense going against this. If we take a quick look to Suppe's armory upgrades, he hasn't even started them, but so too has Matreiuss, funnily enough, not started his own armory upgrades. As the Valkyrie going to be charging forward to try and take out these units. Battle Ball going to be getting some huge value here. And Suppe knows he's fallen behind the 8 ball as he decides not Bragi, but Aegir is going to be his saving grace in this game. Houses back up into the middle. Matreiuss has been like, look, I got caught out once, but I'm not going to get caught again in this game. More houses come down. Great Hall's coming down. We've got the long house on that position. Villagers over onto this gold mine is now another weakness for Suppe to have to deal with. His army all sitting in the center of the map right now, but the Dizablot Valkyries, the Shield Maiden Valkyrie is going to be popping in here and start doing a lot of damage to these villagers. Good reaction here from Suppe to pull back, but he's still going to be losing quite a few villagers on this raid as the army now comes through for Suppe to defend over here, but immediately retreating away. 6 speed on those Shield Maiden Valkyries for the time being here as the rest of the cavalry coming through for Matreiuss, but still no heavy cavalry. Probably means that for the time being, Suppe can kind of take this fight. He's also got all of his armor upgrades coming through. As the army pushing it onto the front does get that heavy infantry in nice and quick as the dwarves, and we see a town center up for Soup. So this is a nice little divergence from one town center all in to try and make up for the villages that he's losing in these raids. But this just means Matreiuss has to stay very, very active and get that damage done. Plus, on top of this, with that heroic gauge coming in, you've also got to be thinking, well, I need to have a lot of resources here to get all those upgrades started. Otherwise, it's going to take a really long time for them to all come online. As Matreiuss says, okay, you've got a town center. Let me get a town center as well. But I'm taking your third here as the heavy raiding cavalry are going to be distracting ever so slightly. But Soup, he has that little bit of that spidey senses coming in. Battle Ball charges for not the best special attack to be used there, as the Thrown Axemen are very much outnumbered. But those Herdmen will get absolutely annihilated, and Soup now has to micro to his absolute crazy length there to get anything to happen. But raiding cavalry coming through, that's going to be huge. The Rock Giant is in. That's going to be huger, so to speak, as Matreiuss has got to distract for a little bit longer here to try and figure out, well, how is he going to deal with this? He's got 21 favor in the bank. Do you go for more battle boards? Do you go for Valkyries here? Do you just get more unique upgrades, potentially transition into Berserks here with that Call of Valhalla for even more favor gain? Are the big questions. As, well, Soup doesn't really have that Berserk option, as he doesn't have himself access to Call of Valhalla through A gear, but he can just continue to go in with human units here and have a great game of it. As we do see the Gullenbursty gets dropped down, and now this is actually an offensive force here. Look at the damage it does. 65 hack, 21.7 crush. That's going to take this town center down incredibly fast. And Matreiuss here, he's dropping a hill fort. The idea could be to try and get to the mythic age behind all of this. Fimbulwinter, flaming weapons. It's always a really, really strong combo. Even potentially some sort of Berserker rock could be an idea. Berserk rock could be an idea here for Matreiuss. Is much more expensive than going for it with Loki, but it's still a possibility with Thor and also with Freyr if you so choose. You just have to pay for it a little bit more. As the army now charges forward, but the Gullenbursty says, I'm going to get a couple of shots off onto the hill fort. Look at that damage. Absolutely demolishing that position there, as more houses going to be coming down. The raiding cavalry searching down onto the bottom of the map here, looking for something to clean up. As now the units returning back into the center of the map here. Town center will be finishing up for Soup as the army starts to look for some sort of engagement. Villagers retreating off of the gold mine. And so raiding cavalry can just go off to houses. He's not wrong on that, but the town center up for Soup is now 3 town centers to 1 town center. This is a huge advantage now concocted as the raids coming in onto this position. This is going to hurt even more as we do see some portable rams actually coming through for Matreiuss as an idea. But the military population is also quite close. Flaming weapons gets dropped in. Raiding cavalry hitting onto this position. The villagers not reacting just yet. Soup a little bit distracted. A-gear Tempest gets shot down as now the flaming weapons thrown axemen have to retreat back. But the good amount of damage coming, the villagers over here do kind of get missed on that spot there. And it kind of looks like to me that Soup has held this very terrifying flaming weapons attack. A couple of those Shield Maiden Valkyries, just the standard Valkyrie's going to come over here in an attempt to defend here. Lots and lots of gold in the bank as well for Soup to eventually buy some food here and go Mythic Age if necessary, as there's still a little bit of flaming weapons remaining as the army going to be converging back onto this position, but there's just not that many units. We've got those Thrown Axemen going to be teleporting through the hill fort to get onto the enemy Thrown Axemen as fast as possible. The flaming weapons is now down. Armory upgrades, they're only copper versus only copper mail for Soup. He's still waiting. It's got a lot of waiting time on those as the portable rams now going to start tearing down the town center. They do so much damage when you've got an army to support them here. But the Gullenbursty, or not the Gullenbursty, the Rock Giant, the Bergreezy, they're kind of similar. The Bergreezy, that's the unit that these things actually low-key counter, because they've only got 50% crush, so funnily enough 40 crush damage a second ends up being quite a bit to take out one of those rock giants. As now the Godia are also in, and Soup is all of a sudden in quite a challenging position The one saving grace is he's still got this town center, but the problem is that he's got himself a lot of upgrades coming in. He's got the thrown axeman coming in as well, and he's not even building a single raiding cavalry. Does he have a market up? He doesn't have a market. He needs to get some sort of food purchasing going on as the rock giant ends up getting cleaned up in the center of the map here. Villagers going to be garrisoning in. Now they're coming in to start shanking down those portable rams, and that's the weakness of Siege. You've got to have units there to be path blocking and killing off those villagers, in all honesty. That's super important. Now, good thing is that the thrown axemen do actually manage to do that as the town center slowly starting to go down. Thrown axemen going to be pulling back this portable rams, still taking the town center down, but the villagers now pop through. They take out 2 portable rams and the third one as well, and the town center is going to live here with just a little bit of HP remaining, but still a lot of wood and gold remaining in this game. Got those Shieldmaiden Valkyries still charging forward. If we take a quick look as to what Matreiuss has got, the problem for Matreiuss is very similar to the problem for Soup. Both players here are floating a ton of resources, and don't let a low wood count or a low food count or a low gold count fool you. There's a lot of units queued up here for Matreiuss that are technically just sitting in the bank for him. He's got to get some more military buildings down as the hill fort here going to start getting torn down by these portable rams. Soup is probably going to be very surprised to be seeing this, because it's rare to see these rams, but they are doing absolute work in this game as the thrown axeman trying to take out enemy thrown axeman on the back here. As that Bergreezy is getting some good damage done as well. And after all is said and done, Hillfort does end up getting taken down. Raiding cavalry charging forward here as well. Valkyries on the back here will get taken down pretty quickly from those Goaty here as well. So a good little couple of units to have. The village is still going to be grabbing that gold on this position. Does Matreiuss spot it? He hasn't checked it out just yet, but he's got to be thinking, well, maybe there's something there. The gold villages aren't anywhere else. Obviously, Soup has got tons of gold in the bank, so it's not that big of a deal, as the Shieldmaiden Valkyrie for Matreiuss does spot this. We'll start taking villages down, and now we see more great halls for a ton more raiding cavalry to come in onto this position. As the Goaty gets taken down, the thrown axeman going to be getting taken down. No, it's going to live there with just a little bit. Goaty going to be getting a little bit of damage done over here, as well as the dwarves all returning over onto this position. But the Valkyrie is still in chase mode. He's still going after these units over here. Well, I guess the problem for Matreiuss is the longer this game goes on, the stronger this Freyr army is going to become. And now we see town centers coming up. Just the one berserk on both of those. So it's going to take a long time, nearly 2 minutes remaining on that bottom town center there to actually come up. But it is well worth it. You can fight throughout this. You can get upgrades and all the other good stuff. And we're now seeing Matreiuss say, all right, if you're not going to fight me, we're going to go in for another town center. Thank you for the 4 months. Convict Kun. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. As a raiding cavalry charging forward here.
Yo.
And now the Goaty going to turn around and start getting some big damage done onto those Bergreezy here as well. The Valkyries on the back going to be distracting up the thrown axeman, which is going to be big. There are a couple of Herdmen in this fight as well. Now, Bergreezy, they are a really, really good counter, so to speak, or a resistance. Have a great resistance to the Goaty's damage because they've got a huge amount of pierce armor, but the Goaty is still going to be getting some good damage done nonetheless, as we see the raids coming down onto the bottom side of the map, looking for something to kill while it's going on. Town Center now going to be coming up here as well. However, Soup is now on the way through Hell. Hell is going to mean Nidhogg, though there are a lot of Goaty. It's also going to mean Granite Blood for his Bergreezy here, so he can keep producing these, but get that Granite Blood out. And then also he can get himself that upgrade to produce myth units really, really quickly, Rampage. And that's going to be a scary thing to deal with, as the raiding cavalry do end up getting sniped down here. A couple of Herdmen in defense. Good defense there from Soup. If we take a quick look at the actual upgrades, though, Soup's nearly got fully upgraded units. He's currently missing himself the bronze weapons, but he queues that up now, so it's going to come through relatively quickly here as the Mythic Age comes in. And the question is, where to next for Matreiuss. Dealing with a Nidhogg can be rather challenging, though he does have a lot of those Goaty, and we'll see what the plan is here for Soup's Nidhogg as he does charge in. There's that special divine damage coming in. The garrison there, though, from Matreiuss, absolutely on point. Those portable rams can get in, and you see the Greasy is now up to 70% crush armor, but it does drop down to 40% here, so those can get in there. As now the Nidhogg going to be charging across the map. More Goaties getting created here, but it's looking for villagers to kill, and this just means you have to chase it around the map. Meanwhile, up onto this position as well, we are seeing a little bit of a raiding cavalry expedition here that does get greeted by Matreiuss's Valkyries very, very nicely here. As the army going to be charging in to push Soup back. Soup has a lot of catching up to do in this game, and he didn't go through Vidar, so he doesn't have that extra little bit of late game oomph with the unique Vidar upgrades. He does still have Freyr's gift, however, which can be a big help. But the town center on the front here, this is going to go down very, very quickly. The Thrown Axemen do a decent amount of damage here. 8.4 hack will mean the town center is going to fall, as there's still 60 favor in the bank here for Soup to use. And now we're starting to see not Tyr, but Balder to come through here for Matreiuss. Are we going to be seeing ourselves a little cheeky Ragnarok as well? We've seen one successful Ragnarok recently. Will we see a second one is the big question, or is Matreiuss just going this for the Fire Giant and the stronger late game, with also having that Sons of Sleipnir technology for the raiding cavalry to deal with this this Archibald shenanigans? So the army all going to pull back in onto this position and see what can happen here. The Nidhogg's still getting some good damage, though. This is going to limit the Ragnarok in a really, really big way as the villagers all dive into the town center, but he's still losing more. It does so much damage. 40 plus it's 8 damage on the area there. It does. I don't think Soup here has got himself the upgrade either. Yeah, you definitely want to get that survival techniques upgrade. Do we have that through for Soup? Matreiuss doesn't, Soup doesn't. Neither of them valuing villagers' safety in this game. It's only 200 resources. It's super worthwhile to be picking this one up. Matreiuss is still trying to pump out villagers as the raiding cavalry are charging around. I mean, it's a great way to try and pull yourself back into this game, but losing units is also going to be a challenge here, as now we've got that stone walls coming through, a couple of Fire Giants also on the way, but Fire Giants not going to be that useful against the Ragnarok heroes, as those raiding cavalry chasing units up into the top corner. Soup is just still distracting here. Turns around, takes the fight. How are the armor upgrades going? He does have bronze weapons, but missing that bronze mail. It's coming through, however, as we also see champion cavalry, champion infantry, and Sons of Sleipnir coming in as well. The big boat boost here is the +1x versus ranged soldiers. But there, behind all of it, we see Ragnarok incoming as the Nidhogg. He doesn't want to have to deal with losing all those villagers. 397 population right now for Matreiuss to cook with. Moving forward onto the right side of the map. Wall going to be getting taken down. And that's also the wall that's researching stone walls. Could you believe it? As these villagers are going to get pushed off of this position. Is there any defense to this is the big question. A whole bunch of Thrown Axemen is going to be a great defense, but the raiding cavalry do have themselves Sons of Sleipnir, but how many raiding cavalry does he have? I only see 1 or 2, so it's not going to be that useful. Temple going to be getting taken down. Great little choke point constructed here, but there are going to be a whole bunch of Goaty to take out those Fire Giants, as well as the Heroes of Ragnarok on the back position here, as the Nidhogg will get some big damage done. Does have a very big amount of negative multiplier against those heroes, so they're basically not going to get touched for the time being, as the town center will end up getting taken down. The units over onto this side do get greeted by a whole bunch of berserks. Makes a lot of sense to just convert in onto those. They're super strong against the rag heroes, especially if you have enough of them, but with no real upgrades for them. Maybe not. He doesn't have any of the new minor god upgrades, and in this position here, we do indeed see that Soup is going to have to tap out. Ragnarok finds another victim in Age of Mythology Retold. Everyone says it's terrible, but it looks like it has somewhat of a use case here for Matreiuss, as he does manage to convert this one into a win. I mean, whenever this happens, the question always remains, would Matreiuss have won either way. I'll let you guys consider that for yourselves. Would Fimbulwinter have been a better option, but it worked nonetheless. You see how high that military value goes. It's absolutely insane. All resource cost differential as well. You see Matreiuss just pulls ahead into the stratosphere. But yeah, he made some great early game calls. He got a huge amount of early game advantage here, but it all kind of just went down the drain somewhere along this game. He pushed in, he killed this town center off. I think building the town center up may have been the mistake here, and maybe also going through Hell here, though the Nidhogg got him a lot of value. Maybe going through Vidar for the stronger units would have been another option. I don't really have a great answer at the end of all of this. Norse wars are always very, very peculiar. Nonetheless, Matreiuss too strong in this one. If you like the game, if you've enjoyed the content, definitely consider hitting the follow on the Twitch, if you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next game.